Right, lads, should we do a bit of a tour watch? So let's look at a few specific players whose stock has either gone up or down in a line stock market.
Do you want gradings or not? Because I ain't doing it. I told you that. Come on.
Not
How's
gradings,
this working?
It's not gradings. Stock up, stock down, or stock in debate, or what is it, Rob?
Up for debate. Yeah. So I think we'll start off with some positivity. So whose stock is on the up?
Finn Russell.
Did you see his comments, when he got asked about Johnny Sexton before the game?
Yeah.
He was a bit coy. I don't know. Just felt a bit like...
What did he say?
The lady asking the questions just said, what advice has Johnny given you and stuff like that? And he was like, basically not a lot. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that unfolds. Look, Finn, for me, 100%. I don't think his stock has risen. His stock is up near the top, and you've seen throughout the year, he's been the standout fly-off probably in the world. So stock is there. Stock is not up.
So this is from the weekend, Rob, is it? So just your stock's gone up from the game on Saturday from on the pitch, or
from Saturday and from the Argentina tour as well. There was questions about Finn before the tour started. There's always these questions about Finn, isn't there? Is he a top class 10? But
stock up.
Yeah, stock up. Another one, Ellis Genge. Definitely stock up.
Definitely.
100% stock up.
You'd run through a brick wall for him.
Well, you need the emotional drivers, and it can't be Andy Farrell doing it every single game, getting them up for it. And we know Maro is a leader from the front as opposed to banging chest. I think when you've got a group of lads that don't have a long time together in that group, and in a group of men in this day and age where you question that, fucking let's be fucking having ya kind of part of the game and the emotion, it's changed. But with Ellis Genge, that's deep rooted in him, and you need that now. And I think you need that for a Lions tour, and you need that against what is going to be an incredibly physical Australian team. So Ellis Genge, his stock is up.
I reckon Mark Hansen's stock's gone up in a big way because he missed most of the Six Nations this year, didn't he? And obviously, he's one of the few players that doesn't play at Leinster, so you don't really see him much at Connacht. And then I thought he was great at the weekend. He was
awesome against Argentina when he came on.
Yeah. He's like an unorthodox winger, isn't he? I can see why certain people maybe
busy.
Don't
he's very busy. He makes things. It's because he wears a scrum cap and he doesn't look like a. And this is me talking here. He doesn't look like an Adonis. Let's just say that. Like he's got a look.
He's not Johan van der Merwe, is he?
He's a grafter, mate. He's a grafter, and he's busy, and he'll. He might make the odd error. Defensively, people are like, oh, he bit in, but that was, I think, part of the system.
Systemically,
yeah. How they were slightly tight, and that might be a little bit of a worry as a team defensively. But look how busy he is. Look how he bounces out of tackles. Look how he creates offloads and his footwork. And like every time he touches it, okay, it's not Cheslin Colby. He could run 60 and score. But when you play with these players that create little bits and bobs and get the ball beyond the tackle zone, create an offload, I think he's a class outfit. I think he's a class player. He doesn't look the part necessarily to the outsiders who want to see an Adonis of a winger. He's got a bit of a beard and all this stuff and a few tats, and he's a bit loose and he likes the crack and whatever. He's all business on the pitch, and it was great to see him back because he's been injured for a while. But as everyone said, Andy Farrell knows him better than anyone else, and he can only add value, I think.
My views on Mac, world class. 2 words, simple.
Anybody else whose stock's gone up?
Oh, McCarthy. Joe McCarthy, I thought, answered a lot of questions about him personally, individually, and how he plays. Big fucking animal. And I still go back to when I was at Leicester and they were playing Leinster and he came down the steps and I was like, geez, look at the size of him. And then when you see that sort of performance, he's using all his weight. He's got a lovely mullet at the back. I thought his stock rose immensely at the weekend.
Can I give you another one that's up for debate?
Oh, go on.
It feels like he shouldn't be up for debate, but Gary Ringrose, because he's been so good for so long. But like, you watch him at the weekend, he's absolutely melting lads in defence, isn't he? He's flying up, he's absolutely destroying lads. But kind of all that chat pre-tours, Sione and Aki and Hugh Jones, I don't know, Gary Ringrose doesn't seem to be the name that's coming out a lot.
I have a thing on rugby now as a whole when it comes to playing the way that a Gary Ringrose does. you can't. It's just not sustainable. Like that dude is
He bangs.
a freak when it comes to tackling, right? And he's had his fair injuries off the back of that. That has a short shelf life. I'm not saying that he is at the end of the shelf. I do not believe that. But that is his point of difference, right? So if you were to look at attacking, Hugh Jones takes that. I mean, Hugh Jones has just come back from injury. So Gary Ringrose at the minute is probably issue 13 until Hugh Jones tells us otherwise off the back of that. But I understand why it would still be up for debate and it wouldn't be 100% nailed on, because I don't think we've seen the best of Gary Ringrose consistently for probably the last year, but a world-class player, like absolutely phenomenal. So I don't want to be too harsh on the lad, but you've asked the question and it's in there. If he starts the first test, second, third test, no one's batting an eyelid, me included.
It's mad that was his first ever Lions game, wasn't it?
Yeah, here's one for you. How do you leave Tommy Freeman out then?
You've got, well, I think it's between Freeman and Mac Hansen for a starting slot on the wing. And do you sway towards Mac Hansen because of the Irish connection, because of the potential Irish back three? Tommy Freeman is finishing tries left, right and centre.
Yeah, but Tommy Freeman's one of the informed players in the world.
Yeah, I know. No, I agree. So who would you pick, Jim? Mac Hansen or Tommy Freeman? If you had to leave one of them out. Pick one now.
No.
Okay.
Don't need to.
Mac and Faz seem to have like a very good relationship as well, don't they? It's very like sort of father and son type relationship, I think.
Yeah, and you never, ever, ever, ever hear Andy Farrell name drop a player after a game. Ever. And he name dropped Mac at the end of the game for his work off the ball. So, you know.
Anybody else up for debate?
Yeah, Rob. Tight head.
Oh.
Because I think some might say the horse stock took a hit in Ty Furlong, but I think everyone's been pinning their hopes that Ty Furlong comes through and that he is the starting choice, the out-and-out starting tight head in any team that you've seen. So anyone, any expert, any fan would have Ty Furlong at tight head. He's a race against the clock now to get back to where he was before his injury. Was it a year? Or has it been longer than a year? Because there's no doubt about it, when Ty Furlong was on, and when he is on, he's best tight head in the world. So he's got a bit of work to do, and it's going to be hard, isn't it? Because there's a lot of work to get through when you're in the front row now. It's not just about pushing in the scrum. And we know that Ty Furlong is so much more than that. That is what I'm saying. His point of difference is ball carrying ability and work rate and fitness and all of these things. And he's just not had as many miles in the legs as probably he would have liked, but also for us passing judgment to be like, he is now nailed on at tight head. I'm unsure.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has been that player, hasn't he, where he has been the first choice tight head and, you know, a standout player in that position in the world. But I think Will Stewart has worked incredibly hard and played exceptionally well to close the gap. And yeah, Ty Furlong's had injury issues, but you'd start either of them. And even Finley Bealham against Argentina, I thought he was outstanding as well. So you can actually, I don't know whether you can do it as like the top 14 finalists do, where it's just like rolling subs, but you could bang Ty Furlong out there for 45 and then play Will Stewart for 35. And the levels, there's not much difference between the players, is there? There's different strengths, of course. But, I don't know, Ty Furlong has had X-factor moments, but so's Will Stewart, my old belly swerve. Do you remember his belly swerve and his break for England? You know, the lad's got it as well. So. How
funny is the comparison to Sam Smith? That one there just gets me every time. There's one other that we can't talk about on here in terms of comparison, but the Will Stewart Sam Smith one gets me every time. Yeah. Anyway,
so I hear you about Furlong, but you know, it's not like there's no one else there that's, you know, sort of top of their game. Will Stewart is.
Tour Watch is brought to you by Sky Sports on Now, because if you really want to get in the thick of the action, the only place to watch every match live is on Sky Sports, available to stream with Now. 18 plus, UK only, minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change. Full terms apply.
Pod.
Rugby pod.